Yo, welcome back to more Mansa. It is your boy Mansa, man. We back again with another reaction video, guys. Look, man, we got Formula One explained for rookies. Look, I told you guys in my last reaction, I know nothing about Formula One. You guys recommend me check out this video here, Formula One for dummies, basically for dummies, because I've never watched any type of Formula One. I have no clue, no nothing. So let's get right into this, man. Y'all new here, smash someone like the video. Let's get it.
What will happen over the course of the next 66 laps?
66 laps.
Max Verstappen is champion of the world.
You've been hearing about F1 too, right?
Yes.
Cool. Let's talk about it.
Formula One racing into Miami for the first
The
time.
hottest ticket in town.
Tom, Drive to Survive.
Drive to survive.
Drive to survive.
This is a car race.
Imagine,
at
Drive
over
to Survive.
200 miles an hour in cities all over the world.
Miami Grand Prix, Bahrain Grand Prix, here in Monaco.
200 miles per hour, y'all.
Famous
Daniel
drivers.
Ricciardo.
Lewis Hamilton, seven-time world
And
champion.
100-person teams. Racing cars so advanced that they're
Why did that guy
actually
kind of look like me,
spaceships.
though?
And
Low
so
key.
expensive that they had to make a rule that teams couldn't spend more than $140 million each. And it's only getting bigger. Just look at this. This is from a construction camera at one of two new US racetracks. This one's in Miami. This cost $40 million to build, and it hosted nearly 250,000 people over 3 days. That's a Super Bowl worth of people every day.
Every
and one
day.
of them was me.
It's the first
Hey,
ever Miami Grand
I wanna go
Prix.
to one
We're
now.
Racing in the States and it's lights out and away we
That
go.
guy right there, Lewis Hamilton. That's what he looked like.
just
I didn't know what he looked
love
like.
F1. But a lot of people, because of all this hype, they're hearing about it right now for the first time, and they're feeling a little bit.
I've heard of Lewis Hamilton, though.
So let's get into it. This is F1 explained for rookies. What you need to know to keep up with this crazy, expensive sport that everyone's suddenly obsessed with.
Lewis Hamilton!
Verstappen holds it!
It's done.
But it's also a look at the bigger question here, the huge question.
I think I'm already a
which
Lewis
is,
Hamilton fan.
why do this? Like, why pour so much money, so much technological effort into F1, into entertainment? The answer is in what we get in return. This isn't just a car race. This is a space program for the road.
General growth in interest.
F1's becoming much more of a thing here in the States. You know?
Monaco Grand Prix. Win the Italian
I want to see it in
Grand
person.
Prix. Bahrain Grand Prix.
What the F is F1?
You might know its American cousins. NASCAR has the least
Ah.
ones. Closed cockpits, oval tracks.
Boring.
F1.
F1, I'm a A.
They've got the spaghetti-looking track,
Yes.
open cockpits.
Yes.
But there's one really important difference between these two, and it's the reason why F1 specifically is such a big deal. In
What is
IndyCar,
that?
all of the cars use the same frame, or chassis, the DW12. So the competition here is mostly in how you race that car. But in F1, every team has to design and manufacture their own cars. And the best part is that they get to improve the cars between each race, or not, depending on how they do. So the competition in F1 actually centers around the car itself. Not just how you race it, but also how you build it and rebuild
Really?
it again and again and again. This is why I love F1. It looks like the sport of daredevils, but much more than that. It's the sport of nerds. But before we get to that, I want to show you something. One of the questions that I get asked most about my videos is, where did you get all of that footage?
I'm sorry,
One
girl.
is it's depending drivers for the same team. Each event, or Grand Prix, is 3 days. Practice, qualifying, and race day. I
Practice,
watch these on
qualifying,
TV
and race day.
every time they're on. But this was the first time I ever got to see it in person.
See the car up close.
I want to go to one of these, bruh.
Now I am inside the Mercedes garage.
Truly, I have never had more fun at a sporting event and seen less of what was actually going on.
So right now they're about to do a practice pit.
Here's how this works. The order of who does the fastest lap on qualifying day becomes the lineup at the starting line on race
Hold
day.
on.
And
I'm sorry. Rewind that. We're not. What did you say?
So right now they're about to
The
do a
order what?
practice pit.
Here's how this works. The order of who does the fastest lap on qualifying day becomes the lineup at the starting line on race day.
Oh.
And passing
It's-
isn't
I think it's the
easy,
same
so
as
Where
NASCAR.
you start is a really big deal. Depending on where drivers finish, they get different numbers of points. After 10th place, no points for you.
No soup for you.
Drivers want to get the most points themselves to win something called the Drivers' Championship. but teams want to get the most points total to win the Constructors' Championship. The two championship thing actually kind of makes for funny mismatched incentives sometimes. You can hear it on the radio when teams have one strategy, like they want to let drivers pass each other, and drivers get really mad about that.
If he's quicker, we let him through. That's very unfair, but okay.
But generally, everybody agrees about the big things, which are drivers, race your fastest. Teams, make the best car. All right, here's the fun part.
Legos.
Lego is here. Hey, kids.
Oh, who you about to build this whole
Driver,
thing?
hello, Lewis Hamilton.
Shout out Lewis Hamilton.
Think of an F1 car like an airplane upside down. Both meant to move as quickly through the air as possible, right? But where an airplane's wings work to lift it up, these cars' wings work to keep it down. Why? Because winning doesn't just depend on going fast. It also depends on keeping control.
Yes. That would be me.
And that requires a firm grip on the ground. Take a look at the shape of this car. Now watch how the air moves across it. See how some goes above the wing and some squeezes the long way underneath it? That creates a situation where there's higher pressure above and lower pressure below, sucking the car towards
To the ground.
That's actually
Dang,
happening
bro, this
all
is-
over the car, not just on the wings. And we could talk for hours about the design features on this thing, how they shape.
Dang, she
and
built that
use
Lego
the-
fast.
Some pull air in through the car to cool it down. You can actually see there's a hole there. I think they're trying to imply that on my Lego model.
Wow.
Some actually let the driver release air, lessening that downward pressure and allowing them to go faster in order to pass. Kind of like a Mario boost.
Ooh.
You can actually hear this in a race. Listen for DRS here.
Now, Charles Leclerc is going to have DRS to try and fight it back.
Taken together, an F1 car is just a
this is dope.
symphony of aerodynamics. I actually got to see them up close and personal when I was in Miami.
We're going there.
I absolutely did not keep my cool.
Her B-roll clips are so fire.
You can see teams perfecting these cars over the years, understanding the need for wings and adding them and changing the shape and pushing our understanding of aerodynamics to shave off just fractions of a second. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of people work on this, all for one team. So, how much does this cost?
So there's a possibility that the cars could all be shaped differently. Like if somebody comes up with a new way to make a car even faster, they could show up to the race with a whole different style car than everyone else. Right?
F1 teams don't really want to share the details here, so there's a lot of speculation. But they're also companies, and some of them have to file their financials somewhere. So with a little bit of research into various European countries' reporting requirements, hold on. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Here they are. Annual reports for every F1 team I could find, which is actually 8 out of 10, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
It's pretty good.
As a fan, this is kind of cool. Like, look, this is Toto Wolff's signature. What I learned from all this is that running an F1 team costs anywhere from $95 million to $425 million.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
But the year after these were filed, F1 instituted a new rule saying all teams were only allowed to spend $140 million. So these reports are going to look a lot different for this
Driver's
coming year.
salary is not included in that.
Still a lot. No matter what, F1 teams spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
So what do they make? These reports show that F1 teams make approximately nothing. They run surprisingly close to break even. Red Bull, for example, made $230 million in revenue, and then add these two up, $229 million in costs. And they ended up with approximately $1.2 million in profit. This is in pounds, actually, so that's $1.5 million. These aren't the wildly profitable enterprises I was imagining.
I wasn't,
So
yeah.
why do they do it? Well, take a look at this. This is the Ferrari annual report. Our brand image depends in part on the success of our Formula One racing team. The racing team is a key component of our marketing strategy. It's advertising.
Advertising. It's great.
They use F1 to sell other stuff, whether that's luxury sports cars or a sports drink.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I mean, as entertainment, F1 is incredible. But a lot of people do feel that it's somewhat wasteful.
How much does a Formula One car cost?
400 million.
Was it worth all that money?
This is bigger than F1. It's kind of crazy to think about how much work we as a species put into entertaining ourselves. But I think what makes F1 feel particularly acute for some people is the technology element here. All of this engineering work and all of this energy being spent on 20 fossil fuel reliant cars makes people wonder sometimes if that energy might be better spent elsewhere.
Like literally anywhere else.
But F1 is more than just entertainment. It's better thought of actually as one giant experiment.
Oh.
F1 pushes everything to the extreme. What do you need to create to compete at this level, to keep control at these speeds, to keep the driver safe in these conditions? The idea is that the technology that they build ends up trickling down to all of us non-race car drivers. My question was, is this actually true, or does it just sound good? I wanted to find specific car parts that were developed for F1 and then ended up in my car. But the more research I did, the more complicated it got. People often talk about paddle shifters, for example, but those were actually developed decades before F1. F1 teams just made them better. Same for active suspension, anti-lock brakes, traction control. What I found was that F1 was less trickle-down and more flywheel. F1 combines technologies that might already exist and then pushes them to an extreme, making them better in the process and then inspiring, or literally manufacturing, better tech for all of us. For example, take thermal efficiency, the percentage of energy from combustion that actually makes the car go, as opposed to being lost.
Hey, she's on her stuff.
Most combustion road cars have a thermal efficiency between 20 and 30%, which means only a third of the energy actually makes the car go. F1 cars can't refuel during the race, so there's a very strong incentive for them to be efficient. They're at about 50% now, thanks to new hybrid engines, gains that have been dragging the rest of the car industry forward. Or data collection. Sensors on F1 cars collect huge amounts of information and then feed it back to the driver and the team. They didn't invent a lot of these systems, but they use them in ways that they've never been used before. And that's actually getting more and more important as we move potentially towards self-driving cars. This is the real promise of F1, and it all stems from that original requirement to build their own cars. Basically, we'll do all of this research and development, and we'll create new technologies and also combine all of the cutting-edge tech, and we'll push it to its limits and develop it further, and you don't even need to pay for it. We'll race these things against other groups of engineers doing exactly the same thing in this crazy round-the-world sport that lots of people really love, that is actually, at the end of the day, the biggest, most expensive group project science competition of all time.
Basically, yes.
People debate whether or not we should spend money on lots of our efforts to learn. And yet, they consistently push forward both the tech that we actually use and our understanding of the world around us. In this case, it also makes some money, and it's fun to watch.
Silently
Once you see
freaking
the
out.
promise of F1, it allows you to think
Yeah, I like her videos is fire.
We need people working
This video is
far
fire.
beyond the edge, like pulling forward the limits of what we can do. The question now is, what do we need to learn next?
The future of F1.
If F1 pushes forward car innovation and the future of cars is electric, does F1 need to get more electric too?
Yeah.
And if F1 doesn't go more electric, does it get farther and farther from its original promise over time? Less applicable to the technology that we use and more a novelty. Oh, let's go watch those cars that use gas. I don't know. Now you're up to speed. You can watch a race, you can enjoy it with your friends, and you can also speculate.
Hey, I
with the
learned
rest of us
everything.
where it's all gonna go. I'll be watching with you, and I'll be rooting for my favorite team.
Who's your team? Who's our favorite team? My favorite team, whoever team Lewis Hamilton is on. That's my favorite team. Look, man, I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction, my commentary. Look, man, this video was perfect. Like, I've learned everything I need to know about Formula One in one video. Like, literally explained for rookies. Now I know a lot. Like, yo, I started this video, I knew nothing. I know a lot I learned a lot in 14 minutes, y'all. Like, a lot, man. Shout out to her. Shout out to the team here. I'm producer and writer, the editing team, 2D design, animation, 3D. Yo, they got a lot of people who worked on this video, man. Shout out to everyone, man. I hope you guys enjoy my reaction commentary. If you want me to check out more F1 Formula One type videos on the channel, let me know in the comment section below. Stay tuned for next, y'all. Peace.